shade cloth, and insect netting. We have gotten hit once again by the gnarly, nasty Brigada bug. So all the arugula, mustard, those crops, anything pretty much in the brassica family, to be honest with you, all those crops are now being covered up with insect netting. I'm doing two different things. I'm using biotherp as well as integrating some of my old agribon in. You can save agribon, the thin stuff, but you just have to be extremely careful with it. But I have like that agribon back there. This is the second season I'm using that. The other stuff is a lot better. It's a lot thicker, or I should say a lot tougher, but more expensive. Getting both at Johnny's. Because we are so hot right now, is actually putting down the insect netting for the Brigada bugs, and then I am going back on top of it with the shade cloth, only for the first couple weeks of the growth of those plants though. So probably after 2 weeks, I will then remove the shade cloth and just keep on the insect netting and allow these plants to get direct sun. We're in the 80s now, so we're starting to kind of get down to the cooler temperatures. That doesn't mean that we won't have our 90-degree days. In fact, next week, the forecast is calling for a gang of 90-degree days. Like I said, it's like a sticker. Right now, it's like cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, and then it starts kind of doing it again in reverse. We'll have weeks almost where it's primarily in the 80s, mid 80s, and then we'll get weeks like the next week will go into the 90s, although they won't be going into the hundreds. It's kind of the progression, at least that I've found. Anyhow, so what I'm doing is only going to be riding the insect netting, the shade cloth now for just a matter of weeks. Did that to this row here. Unfortunately, we have Brigada bugs. I kind of just even left this just as a decoy almost, and just to see what was going to end up happening to it. I can kind of get a harvest off of it, but not really. The Brigada bugs have pretty much claimed this row. I don't know if you guys can actually see them. They're just all over this bed of arugula right here. Those little white dots you see, that's their damage. So anyway, what I noticed was that problem that we were getting that I was thinking was the cutworms, in the pester back video. I don't think it is at all. I think honestly it was because I kept the shade cloth on far too long throughout the course of the day, and it just wasn't allowing enough air to come and go. This arugula has been growing in very hot temperatures, and it's looking a lot better, and it's at the size. But the other crops actually were showing a lot of signs of just dying. So, or showing signs of contracting, whatever that was. I'm starting to think that it was just heat and that they were getting cooked. The stuff that's already been transplanted, I'm just gonna go ahead and let them get direct sun. Like I said, it's gonna be in the 80s today. We've already watered everything in really well. So yeah, we're gonna be cool here. That's another thing too as to why I have to put the shade cloth on. What the shade cloth is doing is now acting as a canopy, basically shading the surface of the soil long enough for the next succession of water to hit, and then they get saturated again, and then it's long enough for that water to hit. That's kind of my thought process on what's going on back here right now when it comes to shade cloth and insect netting. Insect netting is just going to ride through the course of the life of the plants. Kind of getting back to what I was saying, all the transplanted stuff, it doesn't get insect netted, it just gets shade cloth. The cutworm damage, it seems to be far less than what I thought originally, especially with being able to transplant things into the ground a lot bigger than what we were doing originally. So it's really working out. I am really digging this. Yeah, these other rows, I actually just had to come through a little bit earlier and reseed them just because the germination was crap. And again, it was because the shade net, because the shade cloth wasn't on. If the shade cloth had been on, I'm pretty certain we would have been okay right now. But I was experimenting, and now I know. So I will definitely be riding the shade cloth for here until it might be going as late as mid-December, to be honest with you. It can go that late. I'm not exactly sure. I need to check the Farmer's Almanac and see exactly, but it could be going that late. Mid-November-ish is kind of what I'm kind of guesstimating it to be. And then we'll be pulling the shade cloth off altogether, as well as the insect netting. Then we'll be going into heating or warming the rows if we decide, and that would be with more agribon if I decide to grow during those colder months. The harder times of the year, guys, like those months that are kind of giving me a problem, there's normally about anywhere from 2 to 3, actually 3 to 4 months that are kind of like, I may not be growing in those during that time. So we'll see, or at least not here. I'll still be doing microgreens and probably be playing around with other things around the plot. Stay tuned, but probably not so much on the plot front. That's kind of what's going on right now with the shade cloth. I hope you guys found this video useful. Like I said, you can totally grow leafy greens during the summer. No Brugada bugs either. Really nice in here, man. This is looking really good. It's gonna be a good crop of arugula. Just a dance, really, with shading them and not shading them. So yeah, just keep that in mind too. When you are growing greens, especially in a warmer climate, and you are using shade cloth, which I feel you pretty much have to. I feel like I have to use shade cloth here. You understand that it is a new responsibility in that you have to take things on and off. You can't just leave them on all the time. I've tried to do that and I've ran into problems. The transplanting crops, you can leave them on all the time. In fact, I kind of leave them on all the time for the first couple days until I see that the lettuces have somewhat set. Then after maybe that day or two, I'll take off the row cover. I'll take off the shade cloth and yeah, then put it back on. It kind of just depends on what I'm being seen and the temperature and all that kind of good stuff. But like I was saying before, this is a new task, so keep in mind you definitely want to make time for that. You definitely want to figure out techniques on how to get this stuff on and off really fast, especially if you're working by yourself. And yeah, but outside of that, it's a needed. Sorry, I just think it's something that you have to have. Yeah, I don't know, but anyway. Peace out. So insane. They're actually just sucking through the insect netting. These things are getting crazy. So what I'm gonna end up having to do is probably lifting up this insect netting so that they can't get to it. It's getting cooler anyway, so they should be going away soon. Man, here we go.